Welcome to the Senate Minute, a weekly update to help keep Hoosiers informed about the Indiana General Assembly and engaged in our legislative process. This is Elizabeth Voss coming to you from the Senate Majority Communications Office. One pillar of Governor Eric Holcomb's 2018 Next Level Indiana agenda is workforce development. So today I sat down with Senator Jeff Raatz and Senator Dennis Kruse to discuss a bill that they brought before the Senate. And the purpose of this bill is to improve workforce development in Indiana. And I'll let them explain it to you. I'm just going to play the interview that I had with them, and we did record it in an office, so you might hear some keyboard clacking, some doors closing, and some papers shuffling in the background, but I think they'll be able to explain the bill better than I can.
My name is State Senator Jeff Raatz, and I am the author of Senate Bill 172.
I'm Senator Dennis Kruse, and I'm the co-author of Senate Bill 172.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Senators. We're here today to talk about Senate Bill 172, which just passed out of Senate this week. And I wanted to ask you, Senator Raatz, could you just give me an overview of what this bill is going to do?
Sure. Senate Bill 172 is a computer science bill. What I like to say first is we call this computer science program, but I don't want to get it confused with programming. It's a program, it's not siloed into a computer program. But in essence, what this bill does is it requires K through 12, first of all, to embed a computer science curriculum within their curriculum. As well, in 9 through 12, it has to be offered as an elective for every student in every school district across the state. Different organizations, the Department of Education and I think an IU study looked at the school districts across the state to determine how many districts actually employ a computer science requirement in their curriculum, and it's about 50%. And so I think as we move into the tech industry, and that's moving almost as fast as light speed right now, that it was time to step back and take a good look and ask ourselves if we were really doing a great job of preparing students for the future.
Absolutely. Senator Kruse, could you explain a little bit in more detail how this bill is going to help the workforce development of our Hoosiers in Indiana?
I think more and more employers have computers and technology as part of their process of their businesses, and some of our students are not prepared for that when they get into the workplace. So this will help them, I think, a lot in getting ready for the workforce. And I think the employers will appreciate that these students graduated from our schools will have some knowledge in computer science. And so I think it'll benefit everybody, actually.
Why is this bill important today? Why is it important that we get started on this right now?
Well, Senator Raatz kind of said we're moving at light speed, and so we need to get, this doesn't take place for a couple of years, but we need to get our kids prepared now, because this is already happening in the workplace, and a lot of kids are not prepared for it. And so I think it's vitally important that we do something here as soon as we can. With only half the schools teaching something like this, it's going to take them a couple of years for the other half to get a class up to speed. And that's probably too late in a lot of ways, but at least we're getting started now to do something as opposed to not having as a requirement.
So the bill requires computer science to be incorporated into the curriculum of schools. What exactly falls under the purview of computer science?
So when we look at K through 3, there are standards set in place in 3 through 5, and then 6 through 8, and then 9 through 12. It could be coding. Now, obviously, I don't know how soon that's going to start, but there are some programs in place where coding is being done even in like 3 through 5. Programming is mandated in 6 through 8, and of course 9 through 12. It could be as simple as learning the Microsoft Office suite, right? So, and delving into Excel, which seems to be a never-ending tunnel with the capacity that it has available. And I think as well it could be used as a graduation pathway that's locally created. Last year when we passed the graduation pathways bill, there was a provision there that gave local districts the ability to create a pathway. So in an area where maybe the employers have a specific need, they could work with the school district and employ some specific graduation pathway for students that would help them, that specific employer, and certainly spill over into other industries as well.
Is there a lot of industry support for this bill in Indiana?
I'm glad you asked that question. The answer is yes. So we received a letter early on in the session when this subject came up with endorsements by 33 companies. And I'll just give you a few, and I don't want to be discriminatory and miss anybody, but Amazon, AT&T, Cummins, Lilly, Infosys, Kronos, Purdue, IU, and the State Chamber. So there's a broad support for the bill for these organizations, showing the necessity, I think, or the importance of embedding this in our curriculum and helping students be better prepared for the future. And I think that, and I want to share one last thing. There was an article the first part of January here in the Washington Post that mentioned that the expansion of AP computer science courses draws more females and minorities. And so that's an interesting statement, one that we certainly can't verify, I guess, but it was very interesting and wanted to share that as well. So we're keeping in line with the governor's vision for the state of Indiana to help better prepare the workforce.
So this week, Senate Bill 172 passed the Senate by a vote of 48-1. If the bill passes the House and is signed into law by Governor Eric Holcomb, it will take effect for the 2021 to 2022 school year. Thanks for listening. You can subscribe to the Senate Minute on your Apple Podcasts app or listen at IndianaSenateRepublicans.com. Just click on the Media Room tab and then click on the Podcasts button. Join us next week to learn more about the bills being heard in the great state of Indiana. For the Senate Majority Communications Office, this is Elizabeth Voss. Have a great week.